Hello everyone and welcome for another video of Love and Wargames. In this video we're going to have a massive battle report. 3 players are on the table. It's a little bit free-for-all, a little bit 2 versus 1 as you will see. There is going to be first joining us again Zongo.
Hello.
You will come with which faction today?
Imperium.
Imperium, back to his old love. And we have also Steve, who is coming today with
Covenant.
also going back
Surprise.
to his first love. And I will be playing Crown because I love the Avalon and I want to bring this time a full rotor fleet from the Crown. We'll see a little bit the scenario and how it works. There is going to be lots of miniatures on the table. I think we have about 6,000 points of miniatures on the table in total. We'll try to film fast so we can go at least until turn 3. Because it's a little bit special scenario, as you will see, it's a little bit an escape scenario. So we need to make quite a few turns. And just before that, I would like to remind you that if you type a comment under this video, you will gain a ticket, and for each ticket that you have, so for each comment you post under each video, you gain a chance to win an entire Russian battle fleet that you can play also as the Black Wolf. So do not hesitate to let us know what you think about the video, what you would like to see more, etc, etc. Okay, Steve. Steve will show us his Covenant fleet, and remember that you can put subtitles on because he will explain it in French.
Donc, alors aujourd'hui on est sur du Covenant. Ça faisait un petit moment que j'étais pas revenu dessus. Alors je me suis un petit peu amusé avec Phil. On a pu avoir un Arcadian Storm, donc un Archimède classique.
Classique avec un petit bonus.
Avec ces petits bonus qui font que pour le coup il tire bien mieux. On va voir un peu ce que ça donne. Il a 2 petits escorteurs. Avec du coup le petit Zoomina qui est attaché. 2 escorteurs aussi.
Très bien.
Dans la même Battle Fleet, il va y avoir le petit Lotan qui va arriver un peu plus tard. Ce que j'avais envie de tester, ça a l'air rigolo.
Avec les nouvelles règles de Submarauder.
Exactement. Et pour le coup, dans une autre Battle Fleet, on va être sur un Icarus.
Ok. C'est un proxy, là c'est un Daedalus, mais il va être joué en Icarus.
Exactement. Et du coup, on va être aussi sur un Plinus, là aussi proxy. Donc c'est l'armée proxy, concrètement.
Ah zut, je pensais avoir ramené le... Bah, ça c'est ma faute. Si je pensais avoir ramené un Plinus, je t'ai pas réveillé ce matin.
C'est pas grave. Donc là, pour le coup, on est à peu près à 14 SRS quand ça va bien. Et on a aussi, du coup, la Battle Fleet Markov avec son Hypathia.
Avec le fameux Amiral Markov à bord.
Donc on a, pour le coup, un générateur qui sont pas du tout représentés parce que c'est les nouveaux. Ça, c'était la boîte Prometheus. C'était compliqué. Il n'y avait pas encore les nouveaux. On a du coup un clone générateur, un null générateur, un chrono générateur et un shroud.
Okay.
Et là pour le coup, pour finir, 3 Antarctica avec pour le coup un magnéto encapsulator.
Ouais, dans les 3. On my side, the Task Force Mordred Interception Fleet, it's this big pack. I have miniatures. I tried to make a nice looking formation. Quite symmetrical. What do we have? It's a rotor battle fleet. We have 2 packs of 3 Pridens. Each pack is going to be armed with gun batteries to the front, and they're gonna have each pack 2 Guardian generators and 1 Trident. We also have 2 squadrons of 3 of those Tintagels, so they are good boarders. They can board further away, so they're going to be my main source of boarding the Zeppelins. They also have torpedoes and rockets and broadsides, so we'll see how they go. We have here 2 squadrons of 6 Saxons. Those are not very good, but now they gain corvette duty. So they do have a place in this type of formation. So this is a little bubble of plus 12 ADV. So that's always something to consider. And finally, we have, of course, the Avalon with my Admiral, still the same, Admiral Gaswain. And he's going to try to survive this battle yet again and sending some SRS, and he has also Flag Barrage 10. So that should be good enough. Basically, my main source of power is the Mass 2 Pridens. The Mass 1s are just gonna send them as a little squadron to try to do the mission. We'll see if they survive or not. It's not very important. And mostly, my secondary objective is to keep my Avalon alive yet again. And I'm not sure if it's gonna be easy to do when we see what is in front.
Okay, so hello everyone. So I tried to mimic Alaric's tactics with having the most symmetrical formation as possible. Thankfully I have 3 big Zeppelins. Well, 1 Zeppelin and 2 Stark Imperium. and a lot of destroyers. So 3 units of destroyers are in all considered. 2 unit of Bavarian destroyers and 1 of Prussian destroyers. Same for the Mass 2 flyers. We have 2 units of Nuremberg, I think, so the Bavarian ones, and 1 unit of Kriegssturm, so the Prussian one. And we have the actual convoy with each time Heidelberg, what's it,
Battleship, yeah,
battlecruiser, I think, escorted with 1 other ship. So this is a Schönburg, I think, and this one is a Reiter. So this one more anti-air version and 1 more supply version. And a lot of escorters.
Yeah, lot of escort, lot of SRS.
Yeah, so well, that's the idea.
We are lucky there is no blast in the list in front of us. That could be painful, but yeah, at least we can make nice formations like this. That's it for the lists. The initiative is going to be first to the crown. I lost my double activation on this. I got this. Then it's going to be the Covenant, and third player is going to be the Prussians. Alright, first activations were not crazy. I activated my Tintagels here, staying in range of the Trident, doing nothing with the torpedoes on the Schönburg and doing 1 whole point there on this Nuremberg, I think it is.
It is.
Then activation of the Icarus, he sent 10 SRS tokens on the Reiter right there, and did with his particle beamers 2 whole points and a critical on this. Is it in Nuremberg as well?
No, they're Kriegssturm.
Kriegssturm, okay. And so the Kriegssturm with his flag Whirling now activated, and he's coming here, shooting everything at the little Icarus. There is a little compensation because he has a Anthropic, but he gains +1 dices from the special voltaic rule. So it's going to be 21 dices, sustained, but he has an active Shroud generator. Let's see. Okay, this was for sustained.
1 dice for Inductorium.
Wait, Inductorium indeed. 1 more dice, okay.
Okay,
And that's it because he's shrouded. With all of this, the Icarus is actually crippled already, but he had only a 4 whole point because he took 3 whole points of damage with 21 hits, and 1 more from the magazine explosion, which also damaged the Hypathia and the Plinius. Alright, since we watched the Plinius there activated, setting its SRS on the Kriegssturm there, and shooting but doing nothing. Then these 2 little guys activated, and they crippled straight and almost killed this Pride-in. Luckily he's at the red level of disorder, and thanks to Lion-Hearted Crew, I think it is, I can shoot my gunnery using my battle ready value and not crippled. And with Cloud Hunting, shooting everything at this little Stark Imperium there is going to be with everything, Cloud Hunting, Royal Engineers, etc. 24 dices, rerolling blanks because he is lumbering, but I also reroll double hits because he has a Storm Generator. So 24 hits, I'm hoping for a double critical. Okay, so I'm rerolling blank because of lumbering, double hits because of a Storm Generator, and I used a card that allows me to reroll any dice, so I chose to reroll the double counters. Let's go. Eh ben, yeah. 8 explosives. Ooh. Another 3 explosives. I think it's gonna be double critical. So that is 37 hits on this Stark Imperium. So that is already 7 points of damage, and if I roll well, I could cripple him with this Turgenium Flare, or if I do a magazine explosion, it would be 2 more points of damage. So I'm really hoping for a magazine explosion here. And no, it's gonna be -2 Citadel and -2 to the speed. And in the end, the torpedoes that I didn't count much because they didn't work so good, did actually 2 points of damage and a critical on the Schönburg, so he has shredded defenses. We're checking now if it means it loses AVS cost as well. And he has 1 whole point left. Okay, so next activation, the Arcadian Storm activated. He gets +3 dices from the Zumina that uses a power transfer. And what is going to happen? The Arcadian Storm has special ruby crystals like optimized for the particle beamers. So he's going to target the Heidelberg here. What's going to happen with these 17 dices? First of all the time he has -2 to the Citadel of the Heidelberg. Very well. And he used the Valor effect to say that if he gets more explosives than blanks on his roll, so counting on the luck, but he also has sustain, let's remember. If he does that, then it means that all the double hits will be transformed into explosive hits, and then rolling additional. All right, so let's roll and see how that goes.
Bah, tu reroll les double hits.
We had a little question of sequencing, like does it happen this rerolling before or after the heavy hits are transformed, because he has the storm generator around. So it means that double hits are rerolled, but it also means, because of the value effect, they are transformed into explosives. So what we're gonna say, like from what we understand of the rules, everything is rerolled, and we'll see at the end what heavy hits are left to be transformed into explosives. So we're rerolling the blanks from sustained and the heavy hits. So this double hit becomes, this one becomes explosive. Explosive. And now we have 7 explosives. 7 explosives. Another 2 explosives. Let's remember he has -2 citadel. In the end, it was 1 hit less. It was 25 hits. It needed 26 for making a double citadel. But it's the Heidelberg has 4 hull point left, and he has a generator offline. The Arcadian Storm did all his damages, and then the Stark Imperium there activated. He sent all its SRS token to fight back at the Arcadian Storm. There is a bomber from the Blitz as well. Then he used his autocannon and flag barrage that I cancelled mostly with my 18 points of Guardian. He did 1 whole point of damage on this Pride there. This guy got obliterated from the generator that had devastating, and this guy got also obliterated from the Sturmbringer that also had devastating. So 1 Priden and 1 Tintagel down. I activated my 3 Pridens. Torpedoes finished off the Schomburg there. The Trident did a critical here, and with piercing and everything, he's navigationally locked, and he has a Sturginium flare, getting closer to my flak broadside of the Avalon. And the 3 heavy gun batteries at the good range, cloud hunting, everything. They one-shot this. It's not a Nuremberg, is it?
It was
a Nuremberg. It one-shot the Nuremberg. It was not enough with the rolls, but I had a lot of blanks, and not rerolling blanks innately. I used a Valor effect to reroll all the blanks, and then I obliterated this poor Nuremberg. So very happy of the Pridens. They're very good with their gun batteries and stuff at hunting the enemy aerials. And now we are going for the Covenant. First, the Hypathia activated, doing quite some damage further on the Kriegssturm that was right there. And then activation of the Heidelberg here with the Reiter. The Reiter, with all its gun batteries and stuff, did actually cripple this little Priden there, and did also magazine explosion, so damages for this Priden and this Tintagel. Good shooting of the Reiter. And then they shot all everything, so generator on the Hypathia doing 1 point of damage, and then the big Gustav gun did a little critical on the Antarctica, and then all the torpedoes also doing a critical, so this poor Antarctica is crippled and at the red level of disorder, which is emergency. Let's use the proper words. That's it for there, and we are going now for the crown. I activated the Saxon, which did good rolls, and when they start to be 6 of them, they do start to pile up. They did all the rockets, they finished off the Nuremberg that was here, and all the torpedoes, rerolling blanks because of the Trident that is here, did 3 whole points of damage and a critical on the Reiter. Good job. The 3 Antarcticas shot everything, crossing the beams and stuff, on the Heidelberg here. The shooting was fine, could be better if they could link together. In the end, he was barely not crippled, and he has 1 whole point left. And here, the magnetic magneto-encapsulator, like the thing that's supposed to bring them all together in the Valor effect, but doesn't work on ARLs, slaughtered, like shot down 1 of the Kriegssturm, and left the second one at 1 whole point from being crippled. And now, it's the Imperium, and it's gonna shoot all around with those guys. These guys did 22 hits, and especially a magazine explosion, so this Priden is crippled outright, and all those guys suffered some damage. So this means that here he did 11 whole points of damage in 1 activation. Good job from the Nurembergs. The Avalon went on this side to use its flag broadside. He crippled this zeppelin right there. Heavy aerial torpedo salvo crippled the Reiter here, and then they did 1 whole point of damage, 2 whole points of damage on these mass ones, even with heavy firepower. I did a bad roll and he did a good roll on defense. And now those 4 Jaegers that I triggered are going to come closer to shoot. Last activation of the crown. Last activation of the crown. These Saxons activated. They did nothing on this guy, unfortunately. 1 whole point on one of the back mass one that is right there. And they, however, did 2 whole points of damage and a critical on the Reiter right here. And the critical was magazine explosion. So a little bit of damage all around. He has 1 whole point left. I think he's dead from this flag barrage. And this guy is now crippled. That's it for our activations. And now only the Imperium has activations left. So it's going to hurt a lot. We'll make all the Imperium activations, so 2 Zeppelins and a lot of mass ones, and we'll see at the end who died. This is the end of the shooting for the Imperium. There has been some dead here, especially the Antarctica here was destroyed. Lots of SRS going there. Few Pridens were destroyed, 1 here, this guy got crippled. Few Tintagel destroyed here, Priden destroyed there. The Avalon was crippled just from like these 4 guys. So these 4 mass ones at they cost like 120 points. So 1/3 of this.
160.
Yeah.
It's 40 points each.
Okay, 160 points. They did 10 points of damage on the Avalon with their like dices, full reroll, voltaic, and everything. So I know they've been nerfed, but have they been nerfed enough? I don't know. They get at 20 inches and they do like 40 hits. I don't know if it's nerfed enough. I would just like to remind that these guys are less expensive than those guys with 1 rocket battery and 1 light torpedo salvo.
It's a perfectly balanced game.
Perfectly balanced. Yeah, but they were already too strong and they're still too strong, but they're less strong. So less strong than they used to. Still, that's going to be the end of the shooting of the Prussians. The Avalon has like 4 or 5 whole points left. We're going to resolve the SRS. There's going to be a lot of flag barrage that we're going to resolve out of camera. Then we will make all the SRS attack also out of camera to gain some time. We're trying to make a shorter battle report here. And we'll see at the end of the SRS attacks. So around there and around here, we'll see what happened. End of the SRS. Despite using cards and having good flag barrage, this Arcadian Storm got crippled. He got 8 points of damage or 9 from the SRS attack. This guy with all the flag barrage shot down pretty much everything and was intact. And this guy just got 1 point of damage from all the 8 SRS that were wiped out from many flag barrages. And the damage was a magazine explosion. So this guy got crippled and everybody around, like all this pack here, got points of damage, so fine. And the Reiter, who had 1 whole point left and like 10 SRS token on himself, of course, died. So that is the end of the first turn. We see now who has initiative. I will have initiative and 56, okay. And okay, so I will play first with this, then Imperium, and then the Covenant. The counterattack of the Crown. They went into full berserk mode and they just slaughtered everything. They did point of damage here with torpedoes, 2 points of damage actually, almost a critical, but especially I had 2 units, so 2 activations because I had a double activation. And with the broadsides and the rockets left and right, thanks to good rolling everywhere, I destroyed 2 mass 1 destroyers here and I wiped out all 4 of them. So 2 with rockets here and 2 more with broadsides, and then 2 broadsides on the left destroyed 1 mass 1 each. So I don't have that many activations left already, but at least these guys did the job. We've seen like how good they can be since there are a lot of them and they have broadsides, even if it's only light. But they did their job, and actually I think I'm in range for boarding. I can try to take my loot here. And after this boarding of these 2 Tintagels, they had Frey 4, so Frey 6 with both of them, and Ricketeer Flight gives them the range. I actually did a crazy roll with all of this. He did a terrible defense roll, so it was brutal result. So he takes a point of disorder. He takes also like a generator of line, point of damage as well. And let's see if I get. So it's a very good result. So let's say that I don't make a blank to not. Do I make a blank? No, but it's fine. I won by quite far. So it means that this unit, I will give them a little token. They have some loot, and they will need to run away with it.
There you go.
Okay, double activation of the Prussians as well. These two guys arrived here. They vaporized the Pride that was here, shot down the Tintagel there, doing a lot of damage and boarding as well, getting back the little Covenant loot that is being fought over. There starts to be a lot of crashed airship of the Crown on this island. It could be fun. Maybe we will make a little scenario where we need to rescue like some crashed Crown ships on some islands. If you would like to see that, give us a little comment if you would like to see that. And then double activation here. He shot 22 dices, full sustained broadside, rolling blanks, etc. Here I made all my guardian points on minus 13 here, and it still did just 1 point of damage, and it was quite close to make a second one. But he did a critical as well, which was shredded defenses, but it could be so much worse. And then he did a boarding here, also getting a brutal result, point of damage, critical. So that was very powerful. I'm out of Guardian already, and now we're going to the Covenant, and we see someone is coming to say hello. All right, activation of the Covenant. It was not good. He arrived here, he made a ramming action, doing 3 whole points of damage on this crippled guy with terrible rolling, and it was a magazine explosion, so he damaged himself. Then he lost 2 whole points because on a ramming he did an explosive hit, so he had only 1 whole point left. Then he tried a boarding, which went very bad for him. He also, again, lost a whole point of damage, so he was crippled. And he crippled himself during his own activation, and he did more damage to himself with his ramming. It's a ramming ship. More damage to himself than to the enemy ship. Good job. But then, since he was crippled already during his activation, he activated his self-destruct sequence, and he killed himself and the Heidelberg that was next. So it was like a kamikaze drone in the end. He just arrived, did terrible, crippled himself, and then exploded. A bit disappointing of the Lotan, to be honest, but he did his job. He killed the Heidelberg. And since he would not be able to do much more after that, because he cannot do anything against aerial units, at least, he died doing what he could do. And actually, the Covenant player also did a double activation. He went here with his Antarcticas, doing quite a few damage here, and at the end using a Valor card to put Generator offline. So some damages here, like this little Citadel breach, like a reactor leak. He killed the Nuremberg that was here, or Kriegssturm, and with the crossing of the beams, he destroyed the one that was there, so the loot went on the second one. So that was his second activation, and I played very boldly the Avalon. He's charging forward. The Admiral gas when he's going down in style. He's gonna shoot flag broadside left and right, torpedoes here, heavy firepower on rocket batteries on this squadron here, and he will probably try to do a boarding action, try to take as many down with him as he can. We'll see at the end what happened. Alright, the Admiral Gaswain on the Avalon did quite some cleaning. Flag broadside here destroyed one of the Jaeger, and the rockets destroyed another one. The torpedoes did nothing, however, and then flag broadside on the right destroyed the first Jaeger or Munich, and then he did actually a great boarding. It was a carnage result, and the Marines of the Avalon went on the Jaeger and destroyed it from the inside. It was a carnage result. Very good job, Royal Marines. That's it for the crown. Back to the Imperium. Activation of the Zeppelin right here. He did a real slaughter. He vaporized with his generator one of the Saxons here. Stormbringer killed... no, Stormbringer did nothing on the Pride in here, just barely 1 point of damage. Flag broadside, crazy roll, did like 30 hits on the Avalon. The Avalon is going down, as is Admiral Gaswain. Let's just see if the Admiral survives. It's a cassé, up. The cassé again. Will he survive? Yes, he will survive, it's a hit. He will survive, but he's going to be wounded, and he's going to be one of the guys to rescue around here. his rocket barrage went on this Pride in here that disappeared, because even with 14 dice of defense, I did terrible roll, and he did, again, 30 hits or something with the rockets, so he's dead. The one thing where the crown resisted was the boarding. They tried to board here, and it was a counter, like equality, like, and they were just barely winning, but not enough to make a point of damage there. That's it for the Imperium. Back to the Covenant. Alright, he's activating this little guy. He did his special operation stuff, but he's especially trying to do the turbo encabulation drive. He has a zoom in, so he can roll blank, but if he does a blank, at the final result, he's going to be lost forever. And a counter, I think it's like he goes to reserve. And yeah, he was supply depot, so he repaired himself with disorder. And let's see what happens for this unit of those little guys. First, we roll for the Archimedes, the Arcadian Storm. Okay, my bad, it's the whole unit, so 1 dice only, and he will lose the entire unit if he rolls poorly. The encabulation drive. It's a blank. Oh la la, reroll, because he has a Zoomina. So it's a valor effect now to be able to reroll this. With Fortunes of War, it would be quite the good moment to cancel it, but he does. We have no Fortunes of War anyway. So reroll in blank. If he rolls a blank again, this guy disappears in the warp. Okay, it's a heavy hit. Let's check what is the result. And the Arcadian Storm arrives here. He's gonna have targets a little bit everywhere. The Zoomina stays like this because he cannot change its facing. He gets the objective back, so he protects his technology. And he's gonna shoot a little bit all around. He even got close enough for boarding on the Heidelberg right there. There's gonna be torpedoes. I don't know torpedoes actually, because if he's in range for the boarding, he's too far for the torpedoes.
But torpedo.
Like too close, I meant. But yeah, we're gonna make all the shooting and see at the end what happened. Well, in the end, the Arcadian Storm, despite being crippled, did a good activation. He did a few hull points on this guy with particle beamers, few hull points there. And especially did a carnage boarding on the Heidelberg, and yeah, nothing on the broadside there. So that was a fairly fine activation, let's say. Alright, this Stark Imperium got very angry, sending his SRS token there. Flag Barrage killing the Tintagel there. Sturmbringer doing a lot of damage on this Arcadian Storm, and then he boarded him, doing a brutal damage, doing a catastrophic explosion from another navigation lock, then one whole point of damage from successful boarding, and then one more from the morale, because it is actually voltaic, his boarding action, and thus the Arcadian Storm goes down. And he also did from the autocannon 1 whole point there, and I think he repaired. So that's it, and the Arcadian Storm, after its brave onslaught, is now going down. I activated these 5 Saxons, and they actually boarded the Kriegssturm that was here, successfully recovering the Covenant loot. So they will try next turn to evacuate as fast as they can. Rocket battery killed the Munich that was here, and Torpedo did 1 whole point of damage on the Covenant there, because we're afraid that the Covenant will now start to hunt us. That is going to be it for the Saxon. Back to the Imperium. Oh, and by the way, I made a little pact. If I don't shoot the Heidelberg, the Prussian player, the competitive Prussian player, he promised not to attack my ships if I leave the Heidelberg leave. We will see. We will see if he does. This Stark Imperium sent all its SRS in support of this attack. He did with Sturmbringer 2 points of damage and shredded defense on this Antarctica there. Flag broadside on the left did nothing. Flag broadside on the right did 2 whole points, on this Saxon here. And the autocannon 17 sustain absolutely obliterated this guy that had the objective. So the objective passes on this little Saxon that will try to run away as fast as he can. We finished with the Imperium, now to the Covenant. Okay, so turn of the Covenant, and we're gonna film because he sent SRS here, okay, and he's gonna try an encabulation drive, 2 dices, no Zoomina around, so if he makes a single blank, the Plinius is dead, or actually he's teleported to Mars or something, so he's out of the battle. 2 dices, he's looking for a good roll, but if there is any blank at all, he's set. Oh là là! Et ça, c'est du talent! So perfect encabulation, he can teleport anywhere he wants, with any facing he wants. The Plinius with its rocket did nothing, it shot on the Stark Imperium, but he did like 5 hits in total anyway, so not a good roll at all. But with his torpedoes, he actually destroyed finally the Heidelberg and removed his last hull point, and the Plinius Marines, or whatever the Covenant used as shock troops, got back the little thing that was floating there, and they got their technology back. These Saxons moved forward, they boarded the Jaeger that was here and obliterated him in the boarding. Rocket did nothing on the Stark Imperium, he was really saved by his storm generator that made me reroll like 8 hits into nothing. And they did double citadel on the Plinius, they did 6 hull points of damage in total, and a navigation lock with all the torpedoes with a good torpedo roll, 25 hits. 25 hits after the SDV, so quite a good roll. And now it's going to be the turn of the Hypathia. As you can see, the Crown and the Covenant now start to fight each other to get the technology and run away with it. Probably these two zeppelin will try to take advantage of this to try to escape, and while the Crown and the Covenant fight for the objectives. The Hypathia activated, and with its molecular disharmonizer that it has actually, did 1 hull point of damage and 2 criticals on the Stark Imperium there. And that's it. And I activated my last unit, this Pride-In. Torpedoes did absolutely nothing, but I did 2 hull points of damage and a critical, which was shredded defense, on the Stark Imperium there. So everybody played, we're just gonna have now the last unit of the Covenant, which was the Icarus. Alright, end of turn 2. We did the SRS, the Antarctica here was obliterated, obviously. Here, the air attack with all the flag barrage went from 10 to 4, barely managing to make a whole point of damage, but this point of damage made a critical, which was a Sturginium flare. So the Zeppelin is getting closer to escape. That is going to be it for the end of turn 2. The Hypathia did a whole point of damage as well with his particle beamers. We finished turn 2. Initiative is going to be first Imperium, then a Covenant, and then the Crown. First activation, the Stark Imperium here sent SRS there, and then with all its weapon it crippled already the Pride-In there, with lots of weapons and flag broadside armor. They wiped out the entire unit there. The objective is back on the water. There is only 1 survivor, who, by the way, now is at the yellow level of disorder. And yeah, that is a lot of pain I suffer. And there is almost no Crown left. I think it's gonna be the time to run away as fast as possible. The Plinius activates and he tries to make a perfect encabulation. That's what he's trying for, to try to escape with the loot, getting his technology back home. On a blank, he will die, but there is a Zumia, so he can make a Valor effect. Let's see. The result of the counter is that he actually drifts forward and suffers a point of disorder, so he goes to the red level of disorder, and now he's gonna shoot and send SRS around. Okay, so the Plinius with his shooting targeted the Stark Imperium, who repaired with shredded defenses. He used the card, but he did 0 counters on his defense roll. 13 hits meant 1 whole point of damage and a critical, which was another generator offline. So he went, so he got 2 more hull points from catastrophic explosion. He went to the black, and now he has only 5 hull point left. And Shock and Stupor used as another double activation card, and now the Hypathia is charging and he's repairing nothing, bad luck. And the Hypathia is charging now the Stark Imperium. Okay, so the Hypathia activated, and he absolutely slaughtered with 18 dice, as he did like 30 something hits. And this poor Stark Imperium is going down, and the loot is going on the floor, on the sea floor, not the floor, but on the surface, and automatic boarding on the remnants, and he gets the loot back. So 1 loot on the Hypathia. Okay, the Saxons activated, they did quite some damage and critical on the Antarctica. So that is a lot of damage on the Antarctica, which is not activated yet. I'm happy that he will not put a template on my cell. And then the Saxon boarded the Plinius, doing a carnage, getting the loot, hoping they can get out of the table next turn. and trying to survive. We made a little pact with the Imperium because that's all we have left, to say like we don't shoot each other, and we try to hold back the wave of the Covenant coming here because they have a lot of Mass 3 ships still. We'll see who can manage to escape with loot of the crazy scientists.
No.
The Antarctica activated. Its magnetoblast navigationally locked these two sections into the front and killed the one that was the furthest forward. And then he did one hull point and one critical on this zeppelin that is barely floating now. One hull point, and he lost its generator. That is it for now. Back to the Crown, who has like 3 models left. The activation of the Imperium was this guy. With his bomb, he did quite some damage on the Zoomina, and not much, and he gathered some loot back. Then I activated the Pryden. I shot on the Zoomina doing nothing between Anthropic and Luminiferous defense, and again Anthropic. And he went there. Why? Because he got to the crash site of the Avalon, and he rescues the Admiral, trying to run away, like fly away with him. And now it is the activation of the surviving Zoomina. Okay, activation of the Zoomina. Crazy roll from the Zoomina. Never underestimate the support ship. He obliterated one of the Saxons there that was navigationally locked, and then killed down the Stark Imperium. He got like 2 loots fell on the ground. He got this one trying to fly away, and then I got one on my Tintagel that can do boardings at 6. He shot rockets and torpedo to the rear, but that did absolutely nothing. Then it's activation of the Icarus. He put 3 SRS tokens here and 2 here, trying to shoot down my Admiral. No! I will see how that turns out in the end. And of course he's gonna shoot around. Alright, end of the turn. What happened? The Tintagel went here. This guy made a hard turn to try to provide support with corvette duty, trying to shoot down all these little flying units. The Stark Imperium wanted to help with flag barrage, but we are not a friendly unit, and we are like, no, let's not. It's a temporary alliance, so we're not friendly yet. All the other attacks did absolutely nothing. There was, I think, yeah, the Icarus did 1 hull point here and 1 hull point there on these 2 sections. Now we will solve the SRS. Those here, and then there is some SRS here. We'll do it outside of the camera, and we'll see at the end of turn 3 what is the situation. Okay, so the SRS did some damage, 2 hull points of damage on the Icarus after all of that. The SRS killed, actually, it did terrible defense roll, and it did great rolling, offensive roll. It killed the Tintagel there, and it did 2 hull points of damage, including a critical, on the Pryden there. So it's getting a little bit tough, and is navigationally locked. Well, it's fine because it just wanted to go forward, but I really start to have not much on the table. Initiative to the Covenant, then the Imperium, and then back to me. The Hypathia activated first, dealing 1 hull point of damage with broadside on the Saxon, and then 2 hull point and 2 criticals on the Stark Imperium with all its 3 molecular disharmonizers. Yeah, well, the thing that links very well, like that 2-8. And then he made a double activation on the Zoomina, which made a double counter, which means he goes back to reserve, and he had the loot. So this is where he goes, like he teleported to safety. My turn. I activated those, first the Admiral that went all the way there. He's running away, and then I did a double activation. Forget that, there's not there. And then I did a double activation, and this guy went here. He couldn't go too far because he needed to make a boarding to get the loot back. And yep, that's gonna be it. He has 3 generator guardian to try to survive, and yeah, it starts to be a little difficult there. Great activation of the Antarctica, which one shot with his blast all 3 little Saxons that were here, and then Particle Beamer did 1 hull point on this guy, but he's still alive, and he has like turn 8 and his speed like 12. So at the end, I'm just gonna double check, but yeah, easily. So his activation, he's not gonna try to shoot, even if there is shredded defense. He's leaving the table with the loot. So I got at least this thing. And then last activation of the Covenant. Alright, this is the end of the 3rd or 4th turn, I don't remember even. But what are we gonna do? The Imperium Admiral is gonna take 2 more rounds of shooting, and he's going to escape anyway, like he's still alive with what he managed to steal. The Admiral has been shot down by the aircrafts, so he's gonna be with a lot of his troops in the islands, and the last aircraft left with the loot, so lots of loot for the Crown. What we are going to do is see what happened to the survivors of the Crown there. On a blank, they are just eaten by the wildlife of these weird islands, like dinosaurs and stuff. On a counter or heavy counter, they survive, they fortify the island, and they wait for rescue. On a hit and a heavy hit, they get captured, and that's it, like we need to rescue them. And let's say that on an explosive hit, very good result for the Covenant, they get interrogated well, and they reveal how to attack the Crown base. Let's see what is going to be the end for this. And it's a blank, everybody dies. No information, no rescue mission. Okay, well, nothing at all. Let's thank Zango that offered this option. So no more mission on this.
Right.
But that's it. So loot captured, admirals died, and that is the end of this battle. Alright, so that's it for this battle. It was really interesting, really intense. Basically everybody died except a couple of survivors. It was interesting because this means the death of the Crown Admiral for the Task Force Mordred. So we'll need to get a new one. We'll see if there is going to be someone intent on hunting Markov later for revenge. It could be interesting. What happened, it was really like crazy high intensity battle. One thing to note is that we tried to film less dice rolls to gain some time, just telling you like what happened, or really filming the big dice rolls so we could go further away. And as you can see, we did like 4 turns, which is something we rarely do with 6,000 points on the table. So let us know if you prefer this, or if you like, okay, whatever, make smaller battles, or just go until turn 2, but film every roll. So tell us what you prefer. We'll talk a little bit about our list. What do you think, Zongo?
Well, fun list with a lot
Fun
of
list, yeah.
dirigibles, and so yeah. Not so fond of the deployment. The scenario was I was like trapped between two fleets, and I had no choice but to fight my own.
Yeah, well, that was the idea.
Yeah,
like
that
the
was
ambush.
the idea, but well, I don't think it played that well.
Yeah.
Well, I think the new version of the Prussian robots feels better than the previous one. Well, like obviously I didn't crush every opposition like I was used to.
Like, yeah.
So yeah, probably feels better. Destroyers still hit really hard.
Yeah.
What do you think? But they've been nerfed.
They've been nerfed, but they're still very strong.
Yeah, they're very strong, but they've been nerfed. Yeah. So well, overall fun battle. Well, don't know what to say.
No, but it's good. It's good. If you're a fun list, happy they've been nerfed. Good. Steve, what do you want to say?
Au niveau de la liste Covenant, alors c'était aussi très intéressant à tester. Alors clairement moins de figurines, parce que c'est une armée d'élite. Mais concrètement, c'était une armée un peu tanky, un peu tricky à jouer, avec pas mal de combos, toujours sympa. À ce niveau-là, c'était déjà comme ça, au niveau avant le recalibrage de leur batte.
Ouais.
Bon là, c'est devenu un petit peu plus équilibré, surtout plus facile à jouer aussi contre. C'est peut-être un peu moins cassé, un petit peu, un peu moins broken, donc c'est déjà beaucoup plus agréable à affronter peut-être aussi. Ça reste super jouable, c'est cher pour ce que c'est, mais c'est vraiment sympa.
Ouais. Et puis belle victoire.
Bon, ça va.
Au final.
Moi, je m'y attendais absolument pas.
Ouais.
Je suis pas parti pour. Hein. C'était compliqué.
Ouais.
Mais je trouve que Zongo, il s'est super bien débrouillé.
Bah ouais, c'est une belle défense.
Finalement,
je pense que
il n'a pas table rasée, il n'a pas été
j'ai
table
plus
rasée.
de pertes que ce que j'ai subi.
Oui.
Mais comme
C'est sûr.
au final il y avait supériorité numérique.
Oui, donc c'était une belle défense de l'Imperium. Pour le Crown, bon, bah, ça s'est mal passé. Bon, je savais dès le départ que ça allait mal se passer parce que les Flyers du Crown sont nuls. Sorry, in English. I knew that it was going to be hard with the Crown Flyers because they're terrible, like the Saxon Tintegel.
The Predane is extremely good, actually.
The Predanes are fine, but they're very fragile. They're like 6'11" with a 7 hull point, so they get killed extremely fast. And they can do good, but they have like 1 gun, torpedoes, which is fine, and then bombs, but which were not used on this map at all. So I was like, yeah, it's more like a fun list. But it was nice to try one time to bring only Crown Flyers. The Avalon got a point reduction, but it's still really, really not good. Well, still, it's always a pleasure to bring it. It's like more expensive than like all the Stark Imperiums and stuff.
Yeah,
and
as compared to Stark Imperium.
It does nothing. It's but it is still fun. Still a beautiful model to play. The Saxons are fine, especially with combat duty now. Didn't get to use it a lot here, but it can be fun, like they have a role. Tintagels are quite fine. They have light broadsides and some weapons, but they are more expensive than Munichs, than the Excaliburs.
Maybe too expensive. Yeah.
They're extremely expensive for not much at all. So of course bring Excaliburs every day instead of these, but still fun model, and it was in the theme of the list. And that's it. I had like 4 types of units, so.
T'as pas parlé du prison, je crois.
Si. Si. So and the Predon, yeah, happy to have them, and they're good but fragile.
MVP of the game.
Yeah, MVP, they're good. They were good. That's it. So it was quite interesting to try more fluff scenario. We didn't count victory points. Let us know if you like this or if you prefer more matched play scenarios for us to play. And we will try to orient. But it was fun to make like, okay, let's just make one objective for each fleet and see who manages to succeed. So let us know again, and we will try to adapt. And if you let us know, remember that you gain a chance to gain an entire Russian battle fleet. And you don't gain a Russian battle fleet if you give us a thumbs up, but please do it because it really helps us. I hope you enjoyed, and until the next video, remember to keep spreading the love all around. Bye!